Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of The Call Room, and this is a very different edition because we are absolutely all around the world. I'm Jason Richardson. I'm sitting in the beautiful Gold Coast because I'm preparing for the Gold Coast Marathon, which is going to be run not too far away from where I am at the moment. I won't compete in the marathon, won't even be here, but I'm preparing the course for our producer in Joe Pignataro, our little rec runner. That's the story for a little later on. Where's Morgan Mitchell? She's in Switzerland. She's just got off the plane. She's not going to join us for a majority of this pod, but she's going to send us a few messages throughout. But our main man, the young voice of Australian athletics, has just arrived in Portugal, in Mitch Dyer. So Mitch is in Portugal, Morgan's in Switzerland, I'm on the Gold Coast, our team's in Victoria. We say welcome. Thanks for checking into the call room. G'day, Mitch.
G'day, Richo. I didn't know you were on the Goldie, mate. I thought I was living it the best. You might be living it better than me. So, and Joey's nearly there, so I've actually got a bit of FOMO. I feel like I'm missing out, but it's, I'll tell you, it's not a bad time in Portugal. I won't lie. I've never been here before, and it's been on my bucket list, so it's nice to settle in. And yeah, I've got a week here of not a single thing track related, so it'll be a little break.
Well, make sure you tune in for the call room.
Oh, of course.
You've got to check in next week.
I will,
You're not having a week off.
I wouldn't even want one. There's so much ass happening right now. I'm not interested. And do you know, mate, I'm telling you, I'm in Paris. Right. People are talking to me about the call room. They're saying, I want to get on the pod. We got athletes pouring to try and get on the pod. Mondo Duplantis himself said, when am I getting on the pod, boys?
Shush.
I'm not taking the piss.
Oh.
He wants in.
So because you've been travelling around a lot and everyone's been all around the world, we have actually got as our special athlete guest this week an absolute exclusive and a beautiful little teaser for the whole world, and that is Mitch Dyer sits down with Jessica Hull. Now, Mitch, you did this a few weeks ago, and we'll show and listen into a segment where she reflects on her career and where she is at life. Give us a little preview, mate.
Yeah, it was exciting. I got the invite from Jess and her team to come up to Newcastle and get into, what is now their old house. They're actually in the process of moving. So the props and the scenery around the house, we're trying to make it as clean as we could whilst everything was being moved. But yeah, she was just really keen to talk about her career and her life and sort of the journey that she's been on and the way her career has taken shape now. And I think really have that athletic nuance side to it. I mean, being lucky enough to be in the sport, we all are. I feel like the questions were a lot more athletic based and trying to, I guess, draw out some of, the things that she's been through. And I mean, I've been so lucky. I think I've had the box seat to Jess's career in a way over the last 3 to 4 years because it's just felt like every event that she's done, I've been fortunate to be on the other side doing interviews or just involved. Even the other night, we got to chop it up at the end of Paris and spend a bit of time with her team. So yeah, it was awesome. We could have gone for hours. I managed to cap it at about 90 minutes, somewhere in that range, but we covered some awesome things. And I think people would be fascinated by her career in the NCAA, how long it took her to really find her form, that World Juniors, then finding her feet in her senior career, and then, of course, what the last few years have been in terms of Olympic, world champ, Australian records, world records, everything that she's achieved. So, right. Yeah, I think everyone will get a lot out of it, and I think you'll learn a little bit as well about, I'll give you the key theme. She said that most of her running career has been an apprenticeship. And now she's really just finished her apprenticeship and now she's starting to get into the real stuff. So I think it's a good lesson for young athletes. Yeah, I think everyone will love it.
Okay, so that's coming up on the pod a little later on. Let's check in with Morgs and see. She's had a big travel day. She sent us this message.
Hey team, I'm pre-recording this. I am so tired. I had a huge travel day from France. I'm now in Switzerland and I need to catch up on sleep. I'm going to pre-record my segments. The first one for me is, a recap of my race. I sent Mitch the video. Second fastest time, 52:34 this year, second fastest time. But probably the worst executed race, I would say. It was kind of embarrassing. Like I was tired from that flight. Just got in pretty much. And I underestimated the heat for sure. Oh my gosh, I was coming off the bend last. Mitch and I had a laugh about it, and came home for fourth, so I'm really happy. But seriously, I came off that bend thinking I need to actually dig deep and find something, otherwise I will run straight to the airport and fly back to Australia. So yeah, we just want to execute this race in Freiburg, I don't know how you say it. We want to execute this race better than That was, a learning experience. And I think I underestimated the heat in hindsight. I was also a bit more nervous than Japan. I'm going to just try and go in with a little bit more of a calm approach. We're racing at 10 p.m. though, so that'll be another challenge that we just have to tackle when we get there. Stay tuned. Can't wait. Body still feels good, and I'm just happy to be in Europe.
God bloody love her. So there's Morg. So, we've learned a bit, Mitch, from our co-host. She's not made of real tough stuff, is she? She's gone to bed early.
Old flippers. Gee, she said, no, I'm not staying up past 10 p.m. to talk to you, Peanuts. She's like, I'm not interested in that. Yeah, she said, nah.
She goes, stuff buddy Mitch and Unc. I'm hanging around for those fools.
Uncle Jace. She said, nah, not Uncle Richo. Mate, she sent me the video, and because I was grilling her on the weekend, I said, we need the link. She said, oh, there's no link. And you know what? A lot of it, the Diamond League only went ahead because the French government approved a rugby game to go ahead on Saturday night. So if that rugby game hadn't gone ahead, I heard murmurings that they were actually planning to put a warrant out for an arrest of the event organizer of Paris Diamond League if he was to go ahead. So thank God for the rugby. But point being, no live stream because of all this sort of heat and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, Morgan's race wasn't that bad. Okay. I mean, the way that she describes it, she was coming into the final 100 metres, I will say, dead last. But her last 100, she split 13 point. So she was absolutely humming. So I reckon this next one, she's on for a 51, Richo. She's ready. She's ready to go. She's such a champ, though, isn't she? I mean, let's embarrass her while she's not here. I mean, she's travelling around Europe. She's competing in meets in Europe where normally, she'd be competing, back in her absolute prime. And I say that with incredible respect. She'd be in Diamond League meets, but she doesn't care. She just loves track and field. She's competing. She's building up towards LA. She knows she's got to start at a lower level. And she is here presenting herself in amazing physical shape. She's getting her head around it. She's just had twins not long ago. Like, she's an incredible story. So we're bloody proud of her. So that's the first one straight off the plane. She gets rid of a bit of that rust. And we look forward to watching her throughout the rest of her European vacation. And she better keep joining us on the pod, because I know that most of the people are listening and watching because of her. Yeah. So we're sitting on her coattails. We ask the simple question each and every week, Mitch, and you can go first, brother. Who do you love? Mine's going to be, this is just about as obvious as the sun rising tomorrow morning, but Cam Myers, I mean, so much of the media storm naturally gravitates around Gout being our great junior athlete who's now coming through the ranks, and so it should be. I mean, he's doing things that we've never seen sprinters do before. Cam Myers is the best middle distance athlete in the world in 2026. Yep. The best middle distance athlete in the world, not junior, not coming up, and he's got it by over a second and a half in 2026. Across the 1,500 metres, that is unheard of thus far this year. He's the only man to go under 3:29. He shatters our national record, beat it by, 1.3 seconds in Paris, and did it front running, Jace. That actually gets me G'd up when I see a kid front run and then kick off the front. The whole French crowd, they were on Aberdeen hats. They're on their man in second. They're going, he's about to absolutely put the sword to this 20-year-old. Who does he think he is, leading out our Frenchman? And then he said, Aberdeen, hold me spikes, brother. I'll see you at the finish line. He put 15 metres into him up the back straight. I'm not interested. He's a star. He is an absolute star. And you know what? I think this 3:28 is... it's going to be, something of the future in the not so distant future. He's ready for that mile. He'll go to Prefontaine. Superstar. The best young athlete in Australia. Not Australian athletics. I didn't mince my words. The best young athlete in Australia. Cam Myers. Through and through. I'm with you 100% there. Like, he is the best Australian athlete in any sport at 20 years of age. He's the number one, and will challenge other sports to present someone who's better than him at the age of 20. He is an exceptional talent and a quality young man as well. Straight after the race, Mitch was front and centre to catch up with Cam Myers. Well, Cam, you texted me through the week and you said, I'm feeling dangerous. You said, I'm feeling dangerous. And that was incredibly dangerous. 3:28, man. Congratulations. Thank you. How are you feeling? Yeah, it means a lot. I think, getting that Australian record just means so much because, obviously Ollie and Stu were athletes that I looked up to a lot growing up. So I think it
yeah, it's just sort of meant a lot to me for a while, just because of the people that have held that record in the past. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to finally tick it off, and I knew I had something good in the legs, so I'm glad that I was able to show it.
Well, when we were talking, where was it, Stockholm, or I can't remember, you said I couldn't have run a worse race.
Yeah.
You take a good learning from that, because you got clear there.
Yeah, I mean, it started from the first 100. I think I just put myself in a position where I didn't have to run wide at all. I probably didn't run a metre further than 1,500 metres. And I felt a lot better when I got to about a K. So yeah, you can kind of tell pretty early on in 1,500 whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. Yeah. And I could tell when I was going through 300 metres, like I'm still clipping these guys' heels. So yeah, I was just feeling strong, and I think it was nice to have that feeling back in my legs. Yeah, you haven't had that the last few races, you don't think? Yeah, it was weird. Like Stockholm, I just didn't have it, and I said I didn't have the legs on the day, and I really believe it's just something that happens in the sport. So yeah, it's nice to have that better feeling back in the legs. And yeah, Oslo again, like I felt pretty good, but tactically I ran shit. So that's how it goes sometimes. So.
Now that you've got it, I mean, I feel like a record's always something that lingers.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, can you get the record? Can you get the record? Now that it's been obliterated, does that change anything? Does it release the shuttles?
I actually think like I can go into races and not have any sort of other things to worry about. It's literally just win the race. I think having that exterior pressure on yourself to get a time, it sort of takes away from the main part of the race, and that's winning. So yeah, clearing that up a bit, I think it's going to be huge going forward, and I feel like I've worked out a way in which I can run and really get the most out of myself as well. So yeah, it's exciting.
I mean, it's got to do wonders for the mile coming up in Glasgow, right? I mean, you've got to be feeling, you're the world leader, you're already the world leader, and now you've absolutely decimated a world-class field.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously gives me confidence going in. But yeah, we'll obviously get to see Kerr run in London as well. So yeah, I think it'll be a great sort of field, and I'm looking forward to a good battle. Okay,
now, did you think about the tattoo at all?
Maybe it's just clean to get 328, 328.
I just said, I mean, you've given me a clean number.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. I looked it up. I don't know if any tattoo parlours are open after this.
We can find some.
We'll find some, or we've got friends that can tattoo them.
Oh, that's perfect.
I think I'm going to go the arm.
Yeah.
Did you have any recommendations? I said no.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin your life getting a tattoo in a bad spot.
It can't get much worse than what's already happening here.
Maybe in your forehead. I don't think that would be too great.
That could get worse. That could be a career ruiner.
Exactly.
But it'd be a great piece of history. Who knows? Cam 328. That's outrageous. Congratulations,
so much,
man. Well done.
Great chat as always, Mitch. So he runs 328.00, a new Oceania record. He goes in right now. He goes in as a Commonwealth Games favourite. Of course he does. He's against Josh Kerr. So that's going to be fascinating to see what sort of shape Josh Kerr is. Who are the Kenyans going to take to the Commonwealth Games? Goes to Prefontaine first. That'll just put a little cherry on top. And then he gets ready to for Australia to go back-to-back in the mile in the Commonwealth Games after Ollie Hoare, the defending champ, who was the first to do it since the mighty Herb Elliott. So there's two Australians in history that have won the mile or the 1,500 metres at the Commonwealth Games in the men's, and it's Herb Elliott and it's Ollie Hoare. And Mitch, you get the feeling it could be Cam Myers joining that group.
I do, and you know what would be a really cool piece of history? I'm pretty sure Herb was 20 years of age when he won it at the Commonwealth Games. So wouldn't that be something if we can get... I mean, I see so much narrative around this is the next Herb Elliott. We haven't seen anything like this since Herb Elliott. And wouldn't that be a cool piece of history to share between the two, that connect? If he can do it at the same age, it would be amazing. And you're right, front and centre, it was an absolute spectacle. Richard, I've got to ask you now, mate. What did you love? Who did you love?
Well, you know what? Always I'll allow ladies first and then I'll jump off the back. So we asked Morg, who do you love?
I'm so happy for all the Aussies just killing it. That was awesome. And she's not Aussie, but I did say Femke would go 155. You're welcome. Sarah Billings, I'm just so happy for her. She deserves it. She clearly works her butt off. And now that she's reaping the reward, she's, going to the Com Games, and she's going to the Com Games as an Australian record holder. That's just huge. And she's such a nice person, and it's just good, when the good guys win. So, yeah, go Sarah. Super proud. And just all the Aussies. What a night. I mean, Mitch, you are so lucky that you were there. I just think that would have been probably the meat of the season at the moment, surely. So, yeah, shout out to all the Aussies, especially Sarah Billings. just keep going and keep killing it. You're so close to 156, and then after that, 155 maybe.
Exceptional run by Sarah Billings. So 157.01, a new Oceania record. There's a lot to love about Sarah. Straight after the race, Mitch caught up with Sarah.
New national record holder. How good does that sound?
Oh, I am in a bit of a shock, to be honest. I'm so excited. Like, I think just the depth of middle distance in Australia is insane. So to run an Australian record when all the other girls are flying is just so exciting. Like, yeah, Rose and Georgia in my training group have one, and I'm so excited to be with them now.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but that was such a hard race, to be honest.
I'm curious. So you find out who's in the field. You find out it's world record pace.
Yeah.
What are you thinking when you're finding out all this information?
Well, I spoke to Nick before and I was like, 55 and a half, that's way too quick for me.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, just sort of kind of just go through feeling good, but like not too far back. And I've just been really working on my last 300. I found that if I go as hard as I can at 300, that's when I run my best. So today I was just like, no matter where I am in the race, just go really hard at 300. And that's what I did. And I had a really clean run, to be honest, compared to Rabat.
Yeah.
Rabat was super messy. I got really boxed in. So yeah, I'm stoked with that. Yeah, couldn't be happier. We're in the middle of a training camp, so I was a bit worried how the legs would feel, but yeah.
Can you, like the start, like, I don't know, let me rephrase. I feel like over the last few years, you've incrementally cemented your spot as like the person to watch in a plethora of different events.
Thank you.
And now you have a national record to your name in probably what I would describe as your pet event. The journey to get here though, can you walk me through that, to be in this moment right now, to run 157 and now break the record? It's got to be a surreal feeling.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially from when I was like in my early 20s, kind of doubting whether I was an 800 metre runner or not. And then to run that today, it's just really nice to have kind of kept with it. And the 800 is like, I have heaps of fun doing it now, whereas it became a bit of like a scary event for me, and then now I just have a lot of fun doing it, so it's good.
It feels like you got a good group. It feels like everybody out there was getting around one another. The state of like the world record now, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Getting broken, 153.8. You're a part of that race now for the rest of history.
Yeah.
The event itself, is that what also is helping sort of push you forward, push this group forward to run faster?
I think so, yeah. I think the 800, all the other events across male and female have kind of taken steps, but I guess the 800's been left behind a bit in comparison to the world record.
Yeah.
But then now everyone's like catching up. Yeah, I've still got a bit of a way to go, like, whereas amazing, but yeah, super good.
What does this do for you for Glasgow now? I mean, you're an 800 metre runner at the Games. I think everybody's very excited for what this Australian team can do, but now you enter it as the national record holder. Exciting, nervous, just ready to get into it?
Yeah. Well, I think, like, I don't know, you can't hold on to records. Like, Hayley's running amazing at the moment, and Abby, Claudia, everyone's gunning it over 800 as well. So, yeah, I'm just really excited to, like, be taking good steps forward before Games. And, yeah, I just want to take each round at a time and see where that takes me.
You know what? I can imagine your family's back home blowing the roof off the house. You're a popular member of this team. I'm sure everybody everywhere is so excited for you. Sarah, national record holder. Congrats.
Thank you.
Who do I love? Well, I love the comeback of Jess Hull. So we've been following this with great interest. So she hasn't raced for 5 weeks. And she'd be the first to say, Mitch, that she had a pretty flat performance in China. That's not the Jessica Hull that we've learnt to know and to love. But typical Jess gets a disappointment over in China at a couple of occasions. The first one, she goes out really hard and then gets swamped. And then the next one, she's a bit more conservative, but she gets well beaten by Abby Caldwell. Abby's continuing on to do great things. She ran her 3rd fastest time ever in Paris. But then Jess to bounce back and run 3:57.22. What I love about Jess is she went back to work. She went back to altitude. Her team got behind her. That's it. Let's not panic. Let's not crack the sads. Let's just get to work. And she showed that she is back on track in a big way for this mile at the Commonwealth Games. But I've got a little left field. Who do you love? And that is another one of these juniors. And we love his swagger. This kid called Daniel Williams, mate. So he jumps off the plane. He has his very first European meet. He goes to Poland. He runs 1:44.48 in the 800 metres to win his second fastest time ever. He does it young and he sends it all on social media. Mate, I love this kid. This kid is the real deal.
Yeah, he's got a touch of the Richos about him, doesn't he? That flair of Daniel Williams. I mean, he's got a little peacock as he walks in. He's one of the good fellas, isn't he?
I just had no talent.
Oh, that's not true. That is not true. You can't win the stall gift on no talent, Richo. I'll tell you what.
Shut up.
He is... I can feel the aura from a mile away on Daniel Williams. And he's running in this little known race in Poland, but I think the important thing is that he won it as well. Like, he hasn't had that as much in Australia. I mean, he's got so much competition, but he won one of the track classics. I'm trying to remember. It might have been Adelaide. I can't remember which one it was. And that did wonders for his confidence. So I can only imagine what this is going to do ahead of the World Juniors. But he's such a cool dude. I mean, he's one of the good fellas as well if you get time to talk to him. He would be like, when he travels and you look at him and you talk to him, every single international athlete would go home and be like, I met the most Australian I've ever met in my whole life. Like, he is probably the poster boy of what they think Australians are. So it's great to have him out there, Big D will. And, you know, he'll be interesting because he goes now to Penn State after these World Juniors as well, which is 800 metre U. He's a boy from the coast. I'm interested to see how that transition works for him into Pennsylvania. But tell you what, he's a big rig with a good engine and he ran well in Poland.
Yeah, that is going to be fascinating to see the way that Daniel Williams settles into the NCAA system. We love Nina Kennedy. She's back on the podium. Didn't get the result that she absolutely desired, but no doubt she'll perfectly put it into perspective. Hey, Mitch, I've got a new one for you. I've got a casual observation. Okay. There you go. Okay. Here's a blast from the past from back in the old SEN days. A casual observation. I was wondering if you and Morgs picked up, did you see Elaine Thompson-Herah win in Zagreb? She ran superbly. She broke 11 seconds, ran 10.91. So that was awesome to see her back. I mean, for those that are new to track and field, there's every argument to say she's the greatest sprinter ever because like Usain Bolt, she went Olympic double back-to-back, 100, 200 in 2 Olympics running. You add in a relay as well, five-time Olympic champion. But she's had her fair share of issues in regards to her physical, her legs, her calves, her Achilles, etc. So she's had her physical, limitations in recent years, and she's getting towards her mid-30s. So many people have written her off. But the casual observation was, did you see what she raced in? She raced in the old Puma kit.
Oh, like a few seasons back.
So is that, she was the biggest name that Puma signed.
You think maybe the contract's gone?
Well, why wasn't she racing in the new kit? Is that a little, hey, I'll stay loyal to you even though you haven't stayed loyal to me? I'm sure there's kit available for her. Have they cut her contract while she's been on the sidelines for such a long time? I don't know. I just thought, a casual observation, just thought it was interesting.
It's a good
there
pickup.
She is in the kit of 2 seasons ago, racing for Puma.
It's almost like she's picked her favourite kit, hasn't she? She's gone, all right, well, if I'm not going to have the sponsorship, let me pick the best one you've given me. Wouldn't that be such a shame? I mean, I understand the economics of track and field is relevancy. It is all about who's relevant, who's popping at the time. But to your point, arguably the greatest female sprinter in human history. In fact, arguably the greatest sprinter in history. I would be, I don't know how to word this. I wouldn't be surprised given the climate of track and field, but I would be disappointed if that's what's happening to some of the greats. But we see it all the time, Richo. Like, they start to get into their 30s or some people step away for kids or health or whatever it may be, and they just get dropped. And you think, there's got to be some level of loyalty associated here somewhere. Maybe she didn't like the rainbow kit because I've been hearing in Paris, mate, a few people don't like it. They said, I can't believe you've picked the rainbow kit as your favourite for me and Morgan. So they're with you. No, I'm saying they're rocking with you. They're saying Richo might be onto it here. Thank you. So maybe she just went, I don't like the rainbow. I don't want it at all. I'm going to go back to 2 years ago. I like the orange. I don't want to be a part of this at all. It's always a good point. Or the other thing to always look out for as well is the shoes that some of them wear. If they start to get a little loose with the footwear, you go, okay, there might be, like even in their training photos or whatever, you think, There's a change. There's a change coming here for some of these athletes, but that would be upsetting if that is the case.
We'll just wait. We'll just watch. We'll do a little bit of digging around. It's just a casual observation at the moment, and it's just one that we might just have a little pick at. Next time we're in a mix zone, either of us.
She's not in that Commonwealth Games team. I don't think I saw her name on that Jamaican team.
So frustrating.
Yeah, and I saw Sharika Jackson in that 4x1 in the squad.
Sharika's only running the relay,
no
which is
individual.
devastating as well. And no Krishane Thompson.
Yeah, no Krishane.
I don't know where Thompson's been.
Seville obviously not running either.
Georgia Hunter-Bell running the 800 metres only.
Yeah, I like it.
So not running in the mile because a week later she'll run in the European Champs.
Yeah.
And I reckon she'll run in the 1500 there. Keely Hodgkinson not racing at all, not doing the relay, concentrating on European Champs. Dina Asher-Smith running the 4x1 only. So that gives me an opportunity to say, fair dinkum. I call bull dust on the European Championships being conducted a week
I agree.
a week after the Commonwealth Games.
It's terrible timetabling.
Mate. So then I did a little bit of research and I was trying to work out why. So next year, in 2028, the European Championships are in Poland on June 3 to 8. Why are they early? Because it's an Olympic year. So the European Championships are willing to move for an Olympic year. In 2024, they were in Rome. It was June 7 to 12, nice and early. In 2022, it was Munich. It was August 15 to 21. Now, give us 15 to 21, and we would have Keely Hodgkinson. We would have these European athletes. We would have Hunter Bell competing against Hall and Caldwell in a 1500 metres, not running the 8. She'd let her teammate run the 8 and she'd run the mile, and that would be epic. So in Paris in 2020, it was scheduled for August 26 to August 30. So the European Track and Field Association have shown in the past that they will run it mid to late August. Why it's right on the back of the Commonwealth Games when it's in Birmingham in England and the other one's in Glasgow in Scotland. Now they'll probably say, you know what, it's Victoria's fault because you didn't want the Commonwealth Games and you shoved it on Glasgow late. But come on, people. I call bull dust on that.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what it does? It sets a tone and it sets a precedence that we don't value this as that significant. Like when you give it that level of disrespect and you're trying to create notoriety for the Commonwealth Games, athletes know of it. Even non-Commonwealth athletes know of the Commonwealth Games, but I don't think they understand the significance of it. And when you do things like this, it's just like, oh, well, mate, who cares about that? They've got Europeans. The value is on the Europeans as opposed to the Commonwealth Games, which is arguably more uniting than the Europeans. So it is a shame because we're losing quality athletes. Like I spoke to Marco Arop. He said, I'm not going. I can't afford to be doing that and then go back to the Diamond League and then peak as well for the Ultimates in September. Like everybody's having to make these decisions now based around Europeans and the Ultimates. And even Monaco Diamond League is struggling this year because that is on the other side. It's getting closer, not only to the Commonwealth Games, but to the US National Champs. So while it's an off year, I think the timetabling's been not that, I don't know, like some of these regular meets that we see as the best in the world, they're now battling like that. Morgan's got a good point. This Paris one may end up being one of the best of the year because it's that perfect timeline away from all these other majors. And then people come off the majors and they have to peak again for Ultimates. How many times are you going to race? So it might end up being one of the best outside of the Ultimates. But yeah, poor form from the European Union. They should know better than that.
It's so frustrating. I don't know how we've come about with this, but we're in a... Well, I'll be lucky enough to be at London Diamond League, and if Keely Hodgkinson's and Audrey Vero are going to be having a dash at a world record, can you imagine a scenario where Keely Hodgkinson wins in London, breaks the world record, knocks off Vero, breaks the world record, and then everyone says, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see you in 8 days." In the UK, 2 hours on a train ride up the road. Nah, sorry, not going to do that. Come on, man. So that's that is so frustrating. I understand it's not a knock on the athletes. I understand that they're trying to make a living, but the Commonwealth Games are important. I mean, or are we seeing it that's more important for us than it is for other nations? Because what we're seeing, Mitch, is every one of our best athletes are competing. Every one of them are available. There's no Jessica. I mean, you think about our biggest, global stars, Ollie Slagers and Patterson, Denny, Marshall, Hull, and Cam Myers, Abby Caldwell. That's that sort of group. None of them are saying, stuff the Commonwealth Games. I'm concentrating on Diamond League and making money. So, why aren't the other countries doing it? That's the question. That's anyway, I've got that. I call bull dust on it.
I like
so
it.
I've got that off my chest.
I like it.
Thank you, mate. Hey, I'm looking forward to this interview. Let's get there now. We've promised a lot, and always on the call room. We love your feedback. So give us some feedback. Give us lots of messages on Instagram and the like, and we'll make sure that we continue to consume them, and also give you a big shout out and connect, because that's what we're about. We're trying to connect the whole community. So Mitch Dyer sits down one-on-one with one of the highest profile athletes in Australia. Here's Jessica Hull.
I'm not going to embarrass you, but I'm going to introduce you the way that you deserve to be introduced. And we did speak about this off air, about maybe you won't appreciate this until your time is done.
Yeah.
But if we look at your resume as it stands right now, are you ready for this? 3-time World Indoor Championship medalist, 2-time World XC Relay medalist, World Championship team this year, World 1500 metre bronze medalist, only Australian ever to win a medal in the 1500 at Worlds, Olympic silver medalist, first Australian woman to ever win an Olympic silver medal or an Olympic medal in the 1500, 8-time national champion, 5 times in the 5K, 3 times in the 1500, world record holder in the 2000 metres outdoor, second fastest woman ever indoor over the 2000 metres, Oceania national record. I had to go and check this so many times because I was getting a bit confused reading it. So correct me if I'm wrong. National record holder, 800, 1500 mile, 1000, 2000 outdoor, indoor 1500 mile, 3000.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yes, huh?
Thank you.
I know you're saying that you won't appreciate that until your career's over, but when you hear that resume read out, what does it make you feel?
I'm pretty proud of everything we've been able to do so far, but I think it's like I'm always looking at next, and that's probably a fault that I have as an athlete, is I'm always looking ahead. So it's kind of like it feels unfinished. But when I hear it, I'm like, I had the realization is that my medal cabinet is very similar to Laura Muir's, and that's someone that I've just looked up to since I can remember. And it's like I've done things that Laura's done now, but it doesn't resonate the same, I think, because I'm just in it and I have higher goals for myself again, that I think it takes the whole career to go by before you can look back and truly appreciate it.
Is there any of those, and it'd be easy to go to the Olympics, I assume, but are there any of those in particular that stand out, whether it's a record or a medal, or is there one in particular where you go, oh, that was so hard fought or so significant in what I've become now?
I think Paris, the Olympic medal, is like summarizes everything. Like that kind of it puts everything together. That day, it all came together on the right day, and that's the hardest thing to do. But I also think that there's 2 steps in that year that mattered a lot towards being able to have the confidence for that, was the Oceania record in the 1500 and Monaco 2K. I think Monaco, I almost wish I had like an extra week before the Olympics. Like I had about a month after Monaco, because it was so quick and it came thick and fast, and I was like, you do something like that, but the end goal is the Olympics, and that was still 3.5 weeks away. So it's kind of, I did it, and I just like, you wrap it up and you move on. And it's funny, even like reflecting with my mum over some stuff earlier this week, was her standout in my career so far is Monaco.
Really?
And I was quite shocked to hear that.
I mean, it was a great day.
It was a great day, but it's like, as the athlete mind, you're like, well, there's still a big job to do at the Olympics in a few weeks' time. But it's like, for mum to sort of say that, it's like makes me reflect a bit more, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I did that. And it's kind of, it was a 2K, it's an off distance, but it was another stepping stone to have the confidence to go for it in the Olympic finals. So I think it all adds up towards those big medal winning moments, but at the same time, it's just kind of, you're always looking at the end of the season or like the championships, and that's why I sort of say it'll be interesting when I'm done and wrapped with my career, if I reflect back and have different ideas about what was pivotal moments compared to kind of defining pivotal moments by the hardware at the moment. So, yeah.
I get that. Athletes' minds would be so driven by medal. And I suppose medal often means legacy as well.
Yeah.
People look at that so much.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you're introduced when you stand on start lines. It's your medal count. It's not really your PBs or whatnot. And PBs are kind of a product of the medal sometimes. So, or like a stepping stone along the way to being ready to start to win a medal. So, you can't take medals away. Records, they can always be broken.
Come and go. Well, as I'm sure a lot of previous athletes to you know now, given the amount of records that we just read out.
And myself too. I've had records come and go, and the 1500, Lyndon and I traded that for a few seasons, and I've held the 5K and 3K in the past, and I don't hold them currently, but it's like, you kind of look at it as like, well, at some point I'll have a chance to try and get them back. And but I think medals is the thing that they're going to last with you forever. And they're kind of what will define the career. And I think at the same time, they are the things that the younger generation look at is like, well, we can also medal on the world stage. So it's times are one thing, and you've got to be able to run fast and have the fitness to earn the medal, but the medals are what you have forever. In 2016, I had just come out of a moon boot. I had a little fracture in my foot, like so often happens in your freshman year when you level up the training. And I had said to her, like, oh, I'm going to be an Olympian one day, just like nonchalant, like
just a little passing comment.
Yeah, like it'll happen.
I can see that for me.
And she was like, after Tokyo, she was like, it's just wild. Like you never thought that you wouldn't do this. Like even when it was like not coming to you easily or it wasn't happening right away, it was like, oh, I'm going to do that one day. Like I just believed it, and I don't know why, or I think a lot of that comes from like everyone that's been around me all the way through, but it was just one of them things I thought I was capable of, and to make it happen in Tokyo, 2021 with the delay, but it was just something I never thought wasn't going to happen. So.
That's cool, even in the hardest period, because it's not like, to your point, you'd won NCAAs and then went, I'll be an Olympian.
No, it took time, So every stage of my career, it's been like a gradual, like working towards the top. So it's never been like instantaneous gratification.
Yeah, well, I mean, college-wise, I think you were 70th. If you went to 3 years cross-country, I think you went 70, 90, third.
Yeah.
How do you jump from 90th to third in 1 year?
I think my junior year, so my third year of cross country, we'd seen glimpses in cross country season, and I had gotten sick right before nationals, and I didn't have my best day at the NCAA champs, but we'd seen progression in the early part of the cross country season, and Marisa, my coach, was just like, it's coming, like we're on the edge here, and we started to talk about steeplechase.
As every distance runner gets to some point.
At some point does.
Shout out Stewie McSwain.
But then I was like, I really don't want to do that. So, not to like disregard the steeple.
Did you do any training for it?
Did the drills over the hurdles and stuff. I was lucky there was an indoor season to bridge a gap, and I ran like my mile PB and my 3K PB and was third at NCAs, and it was like, okay, we never talked about it again. Was the fear of steeple in the back of your head a little? Were you like, oh, if I don't nail this, I might be there? I don't know if it was fear. It was more just like, I was like, well, I think I can run fast enough in the flat that we don't have to explore this. So it was kind of one of them things that we put the indoor season together, and I finally pulled out just like the marks that we knew I was capable of, and performances at the NCAA indoors that suggested we could do something outdoors in the 1500, and that was kind of early outdoor season went well. I ran a big PB at the Brian Clay meet that is in LA every year, and we kind of knew from there, like, okay, like could be on. And then my conference meet, Pac-12s back then, doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, but loaded.
And I had said to Marisa, like, I understand numbers, like I always have, even from a young age, with like knowing what kind of wins races and things. And I'd said to her in the lead up to Pac-12s, if I can run 2:08 the last 800, I think I'll win. And she was like, okay, like let's see what we can do. And it was it was very slow for the first half, but then we went 68-60. And for like back then was fast.
That's
in NCAA.
Quick. No, hey, that's still quick. Yeah.
Now they run like 4:02 in the NCAA, and it's different. But we had done I'd done kind of what I like projected I could do, and she sat on that because Pac-12 network was like locked down, where you, like if you weren't in the Pac-12 conference, you couldn't watch the race. And she'd said to Andy, her husband, who coached the men's team, she's like, Jess can win NCAs, but we can't screw up the next month. And it was like, she never told me this till like years down the track, but it was like, she knew from that race, she was like, okay, we can win the national title in a month, but you got to get through the regional meet first, the heat at NCAs, and then also like get through an NCAs as a duck, with like a duck that's rising and has hometown expectation.
Yeah, well, because every nationals is in Hayward, right? Or at that point it was still going through Hayward.
Yeah.
Do you remember the feeling of when you do win your first one?
Yeah.
And I actually went back and listened to the call, and it's like deafening. Like you can't even hear the announcer.
Yeah.
A different experience to 14, where they're probably cheering on Mary Kane.
Mary Kane, yeah.
Now it's you.
Yeah, no, it was really special. I think even if you look at that 4-year period, like I won in 2018 from 2014, and 2014 they're cheering for the American, the hometown, and then by 2018 they're cheering for me like I'm one of their own. Like it's very unique, and I think probably one of the best experiences I could have as a college athlete was winning a 1500 metre title on Old Hayward at home, as like the last meet that's held before the stadium was torn down and turned into what Hayward is now. So I think it was just one of them, like I'll never forget it. I even like remember taking the lead with like 100 to go and just hearing our old strength and conditioning coach, Jimmy Radcliffe, who I sometimes still see around the circuit.
Really?
Yeah, he works with Cole Hocker and actually works with Pat Tiernan too.
Oh, there you
so he randomly turned up in our holding camp in 2024 in Montpellier.
You're like, what are you doing here?
And like I could just hear him in my head. We'd done so many like last 80 metre shifts with him at practice where it was like lift and whip, and I'm like, okay, I'm lifting, I'm whipping.
Are you saying that in your head?
Yeah, and just hoping that finish line comes before anybody had a chance to come back at me. And it's just that crowd and the wave of noise was so unique. And I had mum and dad were there, both my grandmas were there. It's just like one of them experiences that I'll never forget it. And even if you win a race at Hayward, even to this day, you take a lap to sort of like appreciate the crowd. It's not like taking a victory lap at the Olympics, but it's close.
Yeah.
And like seeing Marisa on that lap and just like being so proud of kind of like the 3 years of work it took to get to that point. Whereas like obviously when she's recruiting me, she's hoping that that's where it ends up.
That's the best outcome.
That's as good as it can get. And it's like we did it. And I think there's a lot of work that it took from that point of view from both of us, that it was just so unique to get to experience it at home and then to experience it with each other. And as like she dropped me off at the call room, and it's like she's like, I'll see you on the other side. And I'm like, then we see each other on the other side, and it's like, what? We just did that.
What we thought would happen happened.
Yeah. So it's I think you remember moments like that more than like the race itself. Like the race itself leads to those moments, but it's kind of like who you shared it with to get there and those experiences.
Do you recall a lot of races? Because I often wonder whether athletes can have a recourse of like, I remember where I was at this certain point, or is it almost like a blur until the final stages?
It depends on the race. Yeah. I think there's races that you want to savor more. Like I wish I could remember every step of the Olympic final, but I probably just remember some pivotal decision-making moments. And similarly, like that NCAA race, I remember Ellie St. Pierre was racing with the American, and
you had some good athletes in there.
Yeah, and like we were pretty certain Ellie would lead and take it from the front. And like, I just remember smiling to myself 100 in when she was doing that. I was like, okay, this is what I wanted. Like, yep.
I predicted
it's
this.
Like this is kind of the strength race that I wanted. And it's like, you remember key moments. But I think the more and more I race now, the less I remember like every step. I just remember kind of where you've made decisions. Usually the race plan I've been thinking about leading in, that I kind of know how to go through the motions without really calling upon the mental side until later in the game, in the race. So getting better at being switched off early, which I think sometimes means you don't remember as much.
Yeah. Probably a good thing though. Keep it as relaxed as you possibly can for as long as you can. I mean, your NCAA career ended up being, you won 2 titles. Oh, was a 2 or 3?
2 individual, and we won 2 DMRs, which they feel, I don't know, they're sweeter than the individual.
I was going to say, what do you reflect on more positively, the individual or the DMRs?
I think the DMRs, the second DMR in particular, because we were a different team. Like we had 2 returners and 2 changes, and it's like the Oregon pride to be like, okay, we're going to go back to back.
There's some pressure being a duck over there.
Pressure being a duck, and just like the weight of it in our program too. It's like the DMR is 10 points, and they don't inflict it on us as like, hey, this is 10 points we have to get, but there's a big sense of pride as like, we're Oregon, we want to go back to back. We have the best legs in every distance, like let's get it done. So it's kind of, I think the DMRs are the ones that are like more special.
Is it fun being a part of a team?
Yeah. You don't get to do it too often as a distance runner. I mean, we did earlier this year at the cross country, but it's like, it's just one of them things that when it's shared, it's just like the memories are stronger.
Yeah. That's where I get a little jealous of team sports sometimes.
Yeah.
Where they get that week in, week out.
Yeah.
Win or loss, you've got people.
You've got the people.
Whereas running, and you've got your tribe, of course.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your dad, Daniel, your mum, everybody.
Yeah.
But it's you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's a different feeling.
And like it's cool to see, like, even if I look at those two DMRs, like I led off in 2018 and it's like you set it up for the team and put them in a good position, but then you're kind of just helpless. You're like, well, I can't do any more now. And you're just watching and being like, I hope they can get it done.
Are you an anxious watcher?
I think I was so confident in, like, I knew I'd been training with another Aussie woman, Lily Bird, and she was our anchor leg in 2018. And I was so confident in Lil's, like, we'd done so much work together. I was like, if we can keep it in it till Lily gets the baton, we're going to be really
She'll
good.
take it home.
But even just watching, like, she had to fight with the Stanford team, Christina Arrigo, in the last 100, and it's like, I'd never seen Lily, like, give like that before. Like, when you're on a relay, you can just lift, and she did, she got it done. But the following year, I was the anchor leg, and it was really, like, I was probably more nervous before the race started, and then I was so calm watching. I was like,
we've got this.
Like, I was like just watching with pride and being like, oh, they're doing it. And then you get the stick and it's like, well, it's my turn now, just finish the job. So it's cool to just see where your body and your mind go when you're like running for a team.
Yeah. Well, you leave Oregon, and I'm always fascinated by this because you go to, well, what was the Oregon Project and then became Union Track Club with Pete Julian. But prior to that, when you're doing the process of figuring out, do I want to be in a group? Do I want to be individual? What brand do I want to represent? Managers, all that sort of stuff. It's a whole new world, but maybe a little similar to what it was like being recruited for college. Were you always planning to go to a group? What was that period like of deciding what your next step was going to be? Yeah,
there's no handbook for it, which is you kind of just...
It'd be great if there was.
Feeling it out, figuring it out as you go. And I think I knew early on in my senior year at Oregon, I was like, I really want to keep doing this. And then it sort of became, well, how do I keep doing this? I knew I probably wanted to stay in the US at that point for a few years and just get a feel for it. And I was looking at my peers and the people in the best athletes in the world and what they were doing, where they were training. And Constance Klosterhalfen, the German, was like doing everything I wanted to do, kind of thing. And she was as a professional for Nike under Pete Julian, and I was like, I want to go and train with Coco. Like that's kind of she was
such a big name then.
She was, and she's doing stuff on the roads now, and it's like she's still breaking records and things. It's like everyone has their ups and downs, but like at that point, Coco was kind of the benchmark. She was similar in age of like, that's where I want to get to. And that's like the level I think is possible. But I think I never anticipated when I went there and I was training alongside her and Donovan Brazier, and then Sifan was training out of Nike as well, and just seeing what they could do in training and but also seeing their mindset. It was not enough to just make the team, make the German team, make the US team, make the Dutch team for Sifan. It was the standard that they held themselves to was medals, and it wasn't just a silver and a bronze. It was like a gold medal. Like it's like every decision was made for how to be a champion, and I think that just opened my mind at like straight out of college as to like, okay, like you got to think bigger here. It's like it's not just make a team or make a final. It's like we're going to be the best in the world.
Was that daunting at all?
No, I don't think it was daunting. I think I like really grew from that. I think it was like, okay, like I'm not there now, but that's where I want to be. Like that's where I want to get to. It's like I can't expect to do it all at once, but it's kind of, I think I look at it now as something that kind of gave me the belief that like a medal was possible. It was like, I don't know if I wasn't exposed to that straight out of college, if I would have kind of believed that it was a thing that I could do one day. I think having those athletes around me and just seeing the mindset, seeing the work ethic, seeing the day-to-day, I was like, well, this is what it takes. And if I can eventually do this, like there's opportunities for medals down the track. So I think I understood it wasn't going to happen that year or the next year. It takes time, and we're sort of back in that apprenticeship again.
I was going to say, you're back in your apprenticeship.
Yeah, back doing my time, but it was like just being around athletes that had been at the top and were repeatedly at the top. It was kind of like, well, this is what it takes to get there, and like I'm going to take my path and my trajectory to do it too. And it just raised the bar that I had for myself as well.
In the process of doing the apprenticeship, I think it's a perfect way to describe it. And you speak about it so positively. Like, I understand that it takes time, but in that taking time, were there points of, maybe not self-doubt's the right term, but like things that you had to learn maybe the hard way, or things that you thought would be different than what they were? Or were you just always aware that it's a patience game?
I think I'm a pretty positive person, so I always looked for the positives in everything. I think the first time it probably felt really hard was post-Tokyo Olympics. That next 6 months was just like, it was just hard. Like that was, you've been through it all, you've gone to the Olympics for the first time, and there's so much emotion that's wrapped in that. And so much of that is like what the childhood goal was to kind of make the Olympics, and then I made the final, but like I wasn't super content with my race in the final. And I think I hung on to that for so long post games. It was just like, I'd had that raised expectation for myself because of the people I was surrounded by, that then when you have a little bit of a sense of, I didn't perform to my potential in that Olympic final, it's hard to then bounce off it, because it's like, well, the goal for so long was to be an Olympian, and I've done that now, so what's next? And it's like kind of, that was the point in time where it was like I had to sort of decide, like, okay, if I can't be content with like an 11th place finish in the Olympics, like what can I kind of progress to if I like look at this from a different angle? And it was like, okay, like if I want to bridge the gap, you look at the 1500, you look at the way it's running. I think now I can look back on Tokyo and watch that race, and you can pick your 3 medalists before the gun goes. Like, obviously I know the outcome, but you can see the 3 women
just
that are just experienced, they're calm, they're composed, they know kind of, they're the ones that are ready. And it's like, I've got kind of 3 years now till Paris to bridge that gap and to sort of put myself in positions like Faith, Stefan and Laura had for Tokyo Olympics. And it takes that kind of mindset jump to be like, okay, I don't just want to make a final, I want to like win a medal. And that was kind of when, at that point when Pete was still my coach, Sonia O'Sullivan was our assistant, you kind of sit down with those people and say like, I want more than what I've been able to do. And like, I think that means we need to work harder, we need to push the training out a bit more, we need to advance some things. And
so how does a Pete Julian take that when you go, we're doubling down almost?
I mean, he was as motivated as I was for more, and I think it's kind of one of them things where he's balancing, okay, like I'm hearing you and I'm meeting you at your goals, that like
I'm there.
We can't get hurt, like, because if it's like, if you want to get up here, you can't be coming up and down from injury, like it becomes like you can't get here overnight, like we still got to keep progressing to it. And I think that was kind of when I sort of started to drive my goals in my career a little stronger, was like when I started to be like I really want to like bridge this gap, like we can level up the training. My foundation was really strong. I've been really lucky since Oregon days to work with Dave McHenry for strength and conditioning, and it was kind of at a point where 2022 I was turning 26, I was strong, I was able to handle a lot of training load. And I think when I sort of voiced that, I was like, I want to work harder than what we are. I really want to do what it takes to win a medal. Pete kind of met me there, and then as we sort of introduced some harder stuff and we realised how durable I was from just the years of uninterrupted training, we were able to build it out further. So
well, how important is that consistency, like being given those years?
Everything. I think consistency is like, I mean, it's the key, like it's cliche as it is, it's part of the game. And I think durability as an athlete is like one of the most underrated things that you could call upon. Like if you could kind of build your perfect athlete, like I think durability is a big piece, because if you can be durable and just sustain the consistent training, it's like who knows what's possible, and years stack on each other. Like I see it now too, like the years I kind of 2024 I'd say has been my best year so far, but what I can do on the training track now, or how I can call back upon that fitness, your body remembers it, and it just builds that as like that's your platform, and then you're getting higher and higher from there. So if you can be uninterrupted and just keep training and stacking days, stacking weeks, it's like, yeah, it's invaluable.
Was there, when you're talking about that you elevated your training and it got harder?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first maybe session or block where Pete met you with it and said, you want more?
Yeah.
This is more.
Yeah, I remember doing some 400s with him on the track at Nike, and it was very much like one of those, exactly kind of like, he was awesome in workouts. He knew how to like kind of just pull it out of you, especially when it got to the real crunch time. And we were doing, I think we did 10 fours or 9 fours or something, and I was cooked. Like I had a training partner for the day and stuff, and I was like, okay, we really leveled up here. And I took my spikes off. Like he's like, okay, take a lap, and I was like, okay, like at the very end of the set. And so I took a lap, but I took my spikes off, and I come back around because the trees at Nike are kind of hidden. I was like, I took my time getting around the track, and as I got back to Pete, he's like, where you got your spikes off? We got one more. And I was like, what?
You said take a lap.
I thought we were done. And so I spiked back up and we did one more rep and
Do you
stuff.
remember how that felt? That must have felt like hell.
I think it was just like, those reps that just hurt from the first step.
Yeah.
It was just one of those ones where it's like, physically I got nothing more to give, but mentally here I just got to get myself through it.
You got to lock in.
Yeah, you just got to like tell yourself, and there's always a point in a rep where you'll come back into it. It's like kind of once you get around 200 to go, it's like, okay, I'm nearly done now.
Just lock in.
And you just get it done. But it's like things like that. It's like, I asked for that, and you walk away from the track kind of knowing like I can do more than I thought I could do. Like I thought I was done, but he showed me today like I had more. So I think it's just. Yeah, he's truly met me.
Yeah, he's like, okay,
that day,
you asked for it, Jess.
And like I used to like recovery jogs and stuff. Like I used to walk those things.
Really?
Like I was jogging, but I was like, you could have walked faster.
Yeah,
so
you were just in no
I
rush.
knew how to I knew how to make the most of a recovery interval. So
was he like, Dad's got to uptick?
It was like gradual. It was like take as long as you need basically to hit the splits, and then it was like, oh, okay, we can really start to tighten these jogs now. And but I still do it now under Dad. It's like I still know how to kind of maximize the reps.
Yeah, you're stretching it as much as you can.
We've probably switched a bit more to like timed recovery now. I think under Pete it was usually
now
like
they've got you on a clock.
It used to be more of like a 200 jog or 300 jog, and like you can make that take as long as you want. But now it's a little more timed, and I'm like, okay.
Also, Simo cracks the whip a little more. He's got you under a constraint.
He does. There's a few times a year where like often if I say to him like I'm on my limit, like he knows I won't say that unless I'm there, and he'll adjust a bit and he'll be like, okay, take a bit longer, or we're going to break this up, or basically we know we're going to come back in 48 hours. So he never wants me in like the hole. Yeah. But there's a few times a year where he'll stick firm on, and I'll be like looking at him, I'm giving him the eyes, I'm like, you're going to adjust this surely? And he's like, okay, 30 seconds. It's like, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's just like, I know it's for a certain reason. And
that's tough. Is it tough as well? I was going to get to this later, but let's do it now. So in that moment, he's your coach.
Yeah.
He's also your dad.
Yeah.
So is there a frustration where it's like, oh, come on, Dad, like just be nice to me? Also rivaled with, all right, you're the coach. You know what you're doing. I'm going to have to listen to this.
Yeah, never.
Never?
Nah, I think because I'm so goal oriented, I just know that what we're doing on the track is working towards those end goals. And at the end of the day, if like we're so low key, like when the day before, Dad will send me through my session on like a notepad, and it's handwritten, it'll have the recoveries and stuff on it, and it's like he'll send me a photo of it. And so once I've seen that, like it's hard for me to then too, if we have to deviate.
You're like, that's what we're doing.
I like, like what are we changing it for? Do I look really tired or something? So
or do you start to question?
I'd never question the adjustment because I fully trust him. Like I'll never sort of like be like, I'll never talk back to it. Like if he's like, we're going to break this up or we're going to take a bit longer, I'll never say anything in the moment.
Take it for what it is.
And usually it's for like the better of the session, like the quality stays higher by doing those things. But I think there was a few times where I'll like look at it, I'm like, oh, why'd we change that? Like it must have looked terrible in that rep. So
you're like, I thought I felt good actually, come to think of it.
But no, I think over time now it's like, I don't like being a bit older too. I think I've just learned like, I don't really think about it once I leave the track. I think earlier on in my career, I would be like, oh, I missed this rep, or I did one less rep, or we took more rest here, and you sort of think about it. And now I just kind of move on from it. I know, well, it's going to give me another hard session in 48 hours. It's like, I can't really think about that.
But how important is that to just let it be, or just let it go?
It's so important, and I think that's where the trust comes in, and like that he is my dad. It's like beyond the coaching piece, like there's just such a foundation of trust and like dad and daughter that it's like I kind of just leave it behind, and I don't think I could get to that point with like a coach that wasn't my dad. It's like basically just by being dad, it's a bit more freeing. I kind of, I think it's harder for him, you know, like he's balancing his daughter's dreams as well as like being the best prepared athlete when she goes to the start line. So I think that's probably heavier for him, whereas I just show up and I trust it, and there's so much dialogue between us too. If I think I need something more or something less, I can voice it, and he'll always give me his reasoning for why we're doing what we're doing, and I think that just creates this trust that I can hit the reps and just leave it at the session and leave it at the track and come home, recover for the next time.
Jess, I feel we've definitely gone over the timeline that I thought we would, but and we haven't even touched on, you know, world champs or indoors. Like so many things you could talk about in your career, but so many people get so much from this and what you do.
Thank you.
So thank you for letting me come up here and speak to you about it all.
I appreciate it.
Here in God's country.
It's fun to walk down memory lane a bit. It's like, I'm going to have a bit of a pep back in my step again for my jog this afternoon.
Yeah,
like, okay, like we've done this and now we're working towards that. Like,
that's it. You've got if you do win a medal here in the Com Games, you'll be the first Australian ever to win one at every single major. Yeah, from World Cross all the way through.
Yeah, wow. That's,
some more history maybe.
Yeah, it's a big goal.
You got this.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Mitch.
Jess.
No worries, anytime.
Rec Runner time. This is our time of the show to connect with those that aren't in the elite space but still love their running, and we do it with a man with credentials. They're average. His name's Joe Pignataro. He joins us each and every week. Our little Frankie Dettori. Now,
hello, Jason.
Welcome. Sydney Run Club on Instagram said, nightclubs are out, run clubs are in.
Absolutely.
Wow, I love that.
Absolutely. They are bang on. I tell you what, I had an event on the weekend just gone with my own run club and all the other run clubs in the west of Melbourne. There's about 5 or 6 came together with LSKD. We did a group shakeout run. Then we went into the LSKD store, and they were good enough to put a little discount on any new gear that we purchased from LSKD. They then went and stuck on our Run Club logos to represent the west of Melbourne on the Gold Coast this week, and for up-and-coming events as well. So that's the sort of stuff that run clubs are doing. I think, Mitch, previously in the last 12 months, you've actually been to a few run clubs yourself, and you've done some behind-the-scenes footage, you've gone to wear tests with them. Isn't it fascinating how many people come together in the early hours of the morning, not these late nights at a nightclub anymore?
Oh, I know. Gone are the days of seeing the sunrise off the back of a bender. You're seeing them at the beginning of the day now. It's amazing. I couldn't believe it. I remember going to a couple on Saturday mornings, and I was of the clearly silly belief that that's a sleep-in day because everybody's up at 5 a.m, all congregated. I went to the one that, I don't know what they're called now, but it was Run South Yarra. I remember around the tan, and I rolled in, and Tom Adair was there, and he's like, yeah, we'll get a couple of people here, no worries. Half of the suburb was there. It was about 150 people running the tan. I couldn't believe it. I said, what is going on?
Their name has changed to All Ours South Yarra, and honestly, you cannot get a park around the tan, Richo, at 5, 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
You can't get a coffee, Joey. You can't even get a coffee around the tan.
It's impossible.
You can't, Richo. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
That sounds epic. Well done. And how's the prep going for Gold Coast, Joey boy?
So I think last week we said we might be somewhere between 3:25 and 3:30. I reckon that's where we're at.
No.
Come.
No.
What do you reckon? No.
Joey,
Come
you're
on,
faster. You're faster than that. I think you're selling yourself. No pun intended. You're selling yourself short, Joseph. You've got more in you. I've run with you. In a marathon, and because this is where I call bullshit. When Joey did Melbourne last year, he's like, "Oh yeah, if I could get around 3 hours, that'd be all right." And I was like, "I think I could go sub." And anyway, I'm running along. He just comes straight past me, mate. Just absolutely burned me. And it ran like 250. What'd you run, Joey? 255, 6? You got it in you.
It was a 257.03, but I was able to do 12 weeks of prep. This has been tendons, illness, all sorts of issues.
Don't worry about it. That's
don't be. You know what you're doing at the moment? You're doing expectation doping.
This is what I'm doing.
Now,
this is what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing.
You're
lowering our expectations, and then you're going to overachieve.
Correct.
And you know what? We're not buying that bulldoze from you.
Well, you should buy it. I am an underseller and over-deliverer.
I tell you what you're doing. You are given. If you run worse than 3 hours 10, you're paying a fine to our group.
Yeah, that's a fine for sure.
Happily,
1,000%.
We're giving you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We're giving you 10 minutes injury lead time.
And that's generous.
More.
Honestly, you're lucky to get 10.
Very generous.
Very generous from Richo there.
All right, I'll break 3 hours then if that's what you really want. I'll break 3 hours.
There we go. Yes.
I tell you what, I'm looking forward to getting up there because Richo, right now here in Victoria, it's cold, it's wet, shocking, and you're up on the Gold Coast. Conditions for this weekend are sublime. And on Saturday, if you are running in the half marathon, you get to run alongside the likes of Andy Buchanan, alongside Brett Robinson. Izzy Bat Doyle is back. There are some seriously good, talented Australian athletes running in the half marathon. And what about this? For possible history, in the wheelchair elite marathon on Sunday, Matty Di Rosario is going for 5 Gold Coast marathons. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's just brilliant to have her back because Maddie was very much considering giving up the sport. I don't know if she officially retired, but there was a time there where maybe the grind was too much, but it's just awesome to see her back out there. I don't think we'll ever see her again on the track, but it's fantastic to see her in the marathon. So Matty Di Rosario, one of the biggest names in Australian track and field, that is awesome to have her in Australian athletics going so well. So that's a big tick. Gold Coast conditions have been a little rainy around, but they're getting rid of that early in the week. And there's a lot of people around here, Joe. Trust me. You need to get here a little earlier next time. I've seen lots of Japanese, a lot of Japanese elite runners are here as well. So all in readiness for the Gold Coast Marathon. Anything else happening in the rec world, or it's all about GC?
Well, that's the focus this week. Just quickly, the Japanese, I bring up the elite men's field. There is about 15 in the top 20 that will be running. And I will be there on Thursday. If you are going early, check out the Gold Coast Expo where you go and pick up your race bib. But it is well worth spending a couple of hours out there. The man last year who kick-started the Gold Coast Marathon was the great Rob Di Castellaccio. And for people who are in the rec running world, Rob obviously is a superstar and a rock star in his own right. But him, Buddy Franklin and Jonathan Thurstons were part of the Indigenous Running Foundation last year. I got to meet Rob after the Gold Coast Marathon. And on Sunday night just gone, you can catch up on this on the 9 Network app as well as the Stan Network. The long run, they filmed and documented this whole thing. And I've seen the first 45 minutes of it. Can't wait to watch the rest of it. But he brings together 12 to 14 Indigenous runners who just want to run their first marathon, surprises them with Buddy Franklin and Jonathan Thurstons as 2 ambassadors. Cool. And the vision of these young Indigenous people meeting their superstars for the first time, it's actually quite emotional. And some of the footage that they capture, phenomenal. They went up to the Gold Coast and ran the half marathon, all in the lead up to the New York Marathon last year. It is well worth spending some time sitting down and watching this documentary if you've got 90 minutes or so.
Hey, buddy, good luck. You are representing the
Joey.
cool
You
room.
got this.
Let it rip, mate. Anything south of 310, we'll give you money. Anything north of 310, you're copping a fine, courtesy of the call room. Talking about fines, Morgan's put something on the table to us in the call room about fines. I don't understand it all, but let's have a listen to Morgs.
We also need to talk about the fines. I can't remember if this was actually mentioned last ep. I don't think it was. Mitch and I talked about it. I'll let you guys hash it out and I'll wake up in the morning with some answers. But I do think Mitch owes us a lot of money. Like a lot of money. So we need to work that out because some of his stories on this trip have been hilarious. So yes, please, I'd like to actually get our listeners to have some input on this. What do you think we should get fined for and how much? Because once we really get into the nitty gritty of Mitch's, European tour, he's going to be owing a lot of people a lot of money.
Mitch, I don't understand what's going on. Can you explain it to our call room audience?
Morgan, yeah, okay. Well, first of all, old Flippers is trying to bury. She's trying to bury me. I thought I spoke about that. I thought I spoke about that in the cone of
silence. What have you been doing, mate?
No, I had Morgan and I obviously recorded the podcast together, face to face. Shout out Jimmy Whelan for letting us use his apartment in Barca. And she asked me about my trip and, we got to talking and I told her a couple of stories and a couple of things that I'd been doing in between the Diamond Leagues and she found them quite entertaining. And she said, I think they'd be worth a bit of a fine. And I said, yeah, I reckon they're worth a fine. I think she went too high. Do you want me to I'll give you one story and you can tell me what the fine for this would be. And Richo, you know this story. Joey, I don't know if you know this story, but essentially I was celebrating the World Cup in Spain, of course. And, I met a beautiful woman and we were having a conversation and we had a few drinks and, my favourite thing in the world, having, as you do in Spain, you're just having a good time. And my favourite thing in the world is making tattoo bets. So me and this girl made a tattoo bet. Whoever lost the bet had to get the other one's name tattooed on them. So coincidentally, her name was Nike, like the shoe. And naturally, I lost Nike. Yeah, no. Parents love Greek mythology. Her name's Nike. I thought it was a lie too, Richard. I thought I was getting conned. I said, there's no way someone's actually called Nike. But truth be told, showed me the ID, Nike. Anyway, I lost and I was convinced at, 12:30 at night, no responsible owner of a tattoo shop would tattoo somebody who's had that many sangrias. But apparently I was wrong and now I've got the Nike emblem tattooed on my foot for the rest of my life. So anyway, I gave Morgan that piece of information and she thought that was a fine, which I thought was just a funny first date story. But anyway, Joey's in disbelief. Joey's in absolute shock. I mean, that's just a good time. Shout out Nike if you listen to this. But anyway, of course she would be because they said
which of course she would be.
Of course, before we even had our first drink.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, I think I'm happy to cop the fine. I just don't know what the amount would be. Morgan wanted me to donate we're talking hundreds of dollars into everyone's pockets. I said, well, I can't afford to be doing that. But I'll happily find a limit. So I'm open. And this is why I was saying then in the chat, I said, it can't just be for the silly things I do because I'll be broke. That happens all the time. This is why I said Joey's time in the marathon, that needs to be a fine. A couple of things here need to be fines. So I'm happy for the audience to tell us what the fines can be too.
Okay, we'll put it out to our audience. We'll see what sort of feedback we get. There'll be a lot of people that just want to hear more nice nighttime stories with you. We might actually do a push red for Mitch's after dark activities. That might be a separate podcast, but at the moment we've got a PG rating, so we'll actually, it's not, it's MA, but we don't want to move it into anything north of that. but I reckon it sounds fantastic. So put it to you. What do you think a fine is? We won't be fining. Be fining Morgan just yet. We just got to keep easy. She gets. We've got. She's a bit tired. But whatever happens, the money will go to A, our Christmas party, which everyone who listens to is invited, and B, it'll go to some charity as well if we do have any sort of fines. Hey, good news also, when Morgs was racing for her first up race in France, there was a few other Aussies there, some that are not going to the Commonwealth Games team but are still going to Europe, and one that is in Sarah Carley, and Morg gave us her view on how Sarah's going.
Also, away from Paris Diamond League, I obviously ran with Sarah Carley. She did the 400 hurdles. Sorry. Incredible. It was cool just sitting down and chatting to her. She's happy to jump on the podcast in Barcelona, so I'll try and tee that up with her before our next race. But yeah, she's feeling good. I'm super excited. She ran a 55. And again, she was straight off the plane as well into that brutal French heat. So I think she's going to do quite well come Barcelona. I'm super, super keen to see her run and see how this unfolds in the lead up to Com Games.
Okay, well, that's good news. So Sarah Carley is in good nick and goes to Barcelona. And then we'll see, of course. So the training camp's in Barcelona as well for the Australian team, which is interesting in itself. A lot of discussion. Mitch, let's put a final little bow also on our show. A lot of feedback in regards to the selection of the Australian team at the Commonwealth Games. We reflected on it, but you and Morgan were sitting down and having a chat about it after our call room interview with Peter Hamilton. For starters, thank you for Peter Hamilton for coming forward and discussing it. I think, without putting words into his mouth, I reckon there was a turn of phrase which he might regret in gut feeling. He might regret that because it wouldn't, it was a calculated decision in the Rowan versus Josh. But also an interesting discussion, and I heard you and Morgs talking about the fact that hey, can we get closer to the US system, whereby the first three across the line are the first three selected. And this is the question that I'll ask you, is our country big enough for that? Are we a big enough athletics nation to say to Curtis Marshall, you're not going to the Commonwealth Games? Because remember, he no-hided at the Nationals. So would you have taken three pole vaulters to the Commonwealth Games in the males that wasn't Curtis Marshall? Of course you wouldn't. He needs to be there. So there needs to be some selection discretion. If you've got a panel of selectors, they need to select the team. Now, Peter did say, listen, 50 out of the 63 pick themselves, and then we have to work out on the rest. But I think people need to be just a little mindful. There's been some really good, interesting articles. Inside Athletics is one of those that did a really good article. I just think we just got to concentrate and think about what we're saying in regards to the use of the selectors moving forward.
Yeah, so my big thing is, and it's a really good point, because when I thought about it, I'm not thinking of the extenuating circumstances of Curtis's no heights, but I definitely think that there's room for it to be 2 automatics and a 3rd discretionary for each event. And I think in 2 parts. One, I think that we're becoming very competitive in a range of events. There's still a few that we're not quite at that world standard with, but if you were to survey it from 5 years ago, we've improved out of sight across the board in a range of different events. But to your point, there is still a need, I think, of having one spot that's a little bit looser, that has that flexibility. Should something go wrong, or should they need to make an alternative decision, they can. The second part of it for me, and this is what I made the point of in terms of, and this is the other thing, like, nobody has any blame on Rowan or anything. He's an athlete trying to find a spot in a team. If he gets picked, so be it. He could have a fantastic day. I believe that he still can. But I do think that for someone like Josh, if you look at it, you'd go, well, what's the point of me even coming to the Nationals at this rate? Like, this is meant to be the biggest of big days in our domestic season. And, it doesn't feel like it holds the weight that he thinks, or I think it deserves. Like, if he was second there's got to be some level of, okay, you've come to the Nationals, you've come second, you deserve your spot. And I think by doing that, you'll bring everybody will make it a point to come to the Nationals. Every sprinter will rock up, because it's like, wow, if I can get these 2 automatic spots, I'm in, rather than, I don't need to go to that because I'm running well enough, I'll get selected. So I think you make it 2 and 1 discretionary across the board, and maybe some events won't hit that, but I think it'll solve a lot of problems for a lot of events.
Yeah, that's a good point you raised. I think, the system's not perfect at the moment. My message is, let's not overreact, and this negative, this negative commentary towards the selectors. Listen, they're fair-minded people. They made a calculated decision on a number of different athletes. History will prove whether they were right or whether they were wrong. Don't get bogged down on a turn of phrase that is probably not ideal the more you think about it. Just think through the issue, read up. There's some good articles online as well. Read up, listen, have just have a considered opinion would be my advice on that. But mate, it's been covered really well, and it generated a lot of discussion on our Insta as well on the call room. What's your plans, mate? You need to get surfing.
Yeah,
what's your plans, mate? You need to get surfing.
Well, it's what are we
gotta let you
approaching
go.
now here? It's 10:40 at night here, so Morgan would have been asleep for 3 hours. I am in a town called Ericeira in Portugal, which is a surf town. So I'm not a fantastic surfer. The point of coming here was to become a better surfer. And then this is it for me. So I was thinking about possibly extending or, trying to do more diamond leagues and do bits and pieces. But no, this will be my last hurrah in Europe. So it's funny. I'll go back to Melbourne, and then you and Morgan will be on your European hot girl summer. And then eventually, some way, somehow, we'll all come together and it'll be a beautiful thing. But on the interview as well, Richard, you did a great job with Peter Hamilton, it has to be said. The way that you asked the questions and the way that you gave him space was, I think, what made the interview. And shout out to Hamo. I mean, I would never want to be a selector, so it was big of him to come on immediately after that. But yeah, mate, I'll be on the board. I'll be watching Eugene, I think, when that rolls around this weekend. But yeah, it's phone off, and I've just come from a restaurant watching the Brazil World Cup, and it was filled with Brazilians. So my ears are pinging from vuvuzelas going off in a dive bar. So that'll take me a while to get to sleep anyway, mate. So what about you? You're on the Goldie, and then when do you start to get overseas? When do you actually jet off?
I'm going to wait till you come home, and then we'll do a couple of podcast editions together, and I'll jump on a plane July 15, mate. So get home quick, be safe, travel well. Morgan will rejoin us next week. She sends her apologies for not being more involved in this podcast, but her racing is the number one focus, so we support her completely on that. Hopefully we'll have a big name guest next week. Stay tuned on that. Thanks for everyone for listening to The Call Room.